Hi, and welcome back to Waiter There's More. As usual, you need information and we're here to help you. You have requested a video on what to say and phrases to use for guest interactions in a fine dining restaurant. We'll also cover upselling because that goes hand in hand with guest interactions. You're basically always upselling and creating regular guests. Before we start, please subscribe to the channel and leave a like on this video so we can help you even more. So let's get right to it. Welcoming guests. When guests arrive, welcome the guests. Introduce yourself. Leave your title out of it and pay them a compliment. Anything that's regarding their outfit, choice of colors, or hairstyle, for example. This will break the ice and get a conversation going. Pull out the chairs, take coats, and don't forget to smile. Keep the conversation going. How was your day? If they're dressed fancy, ask if they're going to the opera later. The more you talk to guests like this, the better you'll become at making conversation without effort. Upselling starts before or during you hand out the menus. The power of suggestion lies in the ability to shape perceptions, create expectations, and influence behavior without the individual being consciously aware of it. Just tell the guest your opinion about well-paired food and wine, and most of the time they'll just go with your suggestion. For example, it's Friday night, it's hot outside, so you can say this. Good evening, sir. Madam, I'm Julio. Nice to meet you. How's your day so far? I like your tan. Have you been to the beach? Pull out the chair for the ladies, hand out the menus. By the way, Daniel in the bar, he's an artiste at making mojitos. Would you like to start with one while you look at the menu? Did you notice the suggestion? Obviously, you just change the script depending on the weather, season, if a bartender is working or not. If the guests are wearing tuxedos, suggest a dry martini. Like jokingly, Mr. Bond, dry martini, shaken not stirred? I promise you, they'll have a laugh, and if not a dry martini, they'll for sure have something else. Always address the guests with Mr. or Mrs. and their last name. It's usually written in the booking, and if not, just refer to them as Mr. and Madame. If it's a young lady, you can call her Miss. Madame is for married women only. Men are always called Sir, no matter the age or their marital status. I'm actually unsure what to say if your guests have different pronouns. I live in Sweden, so this is not yet the topic that is relevant here, but I'd probably just catch the name when I introduce myself, and if not, I'd just say, excuse me, or make eye contact and say, what would you like for the main course? So back to the script. Obviously, sense the room. If people seem to be in a bad mood, at this point, just keep the talk to a minimum. When you take the orders, suggest a starter by saying, the goat cheese salad is our most popular dish and is often followed by the confit of duck. Now you suggested two things. Most of the time, someone will go for your suggestion. This sets you up for selling wine later on. Write down the order. The person closest to the exit or entrance is always number one on your list. If it's a woman, I would typically encircle the number just so you know and you can inform your colleagues who ordered what, and if I'm busy with another table, my colleagues can now serve the food without have to ask the guests who had what. Suggesting and selling wine. Always offer two choices. Never the cheapest, always a medium expensive option, and an exclusive wine. Point at the wines on the menu clearly so that the guest can see the wine. Refer to the cheap one as a lighter all-round type of wine that goes well with everything, and the expensive one as a more full-bodied, heavier option. This way, whatever the host chooses, he or she won't lose face in front of their guests and be embarrassed. If the host picks another wine that you don't suggest, just go with the flow and smile and say, excellent choice. The host just scored points with the guests, and you are one step closer to better tips. It's important to serve the drinks before the starters arrive. You might need to decanter the wine depending on what type of wine it is. If they order white wine or rosé, Be sure to bring an ice bucket with a stand to place next to the table. Show the host or the person who ordered the wine the bottle and introduce the wine with name and grape. The name and the grape just says on the bottle, so before you take it out, just read the label, and then you go out and you're prepared. Once they approve verbally or with a nod, proceed to opening the wine. We have another tutorial regarding how to open and pour wine, but just pour an ounce or a few centiliters in the glass so they can taste or smell the wine. Before pouring the wine for the rest of the table, always pour for the ladies first. By this point, the starters will be ready. Because you were smart and wrote the order down with numbers, you can remember who ordered what. It's typically very crass to just shout out, "Chicken! Who had the chicken?" No, we know exactly who has what, and the guest won't be interrupted during their conversations while you put their plates down. More points for you. Make eye contact with the host, blink, and nod for a telepathic "enjoy your food" if they're having a conversation. If you work in a restaurant that requires you to present the food, then just stand in front of the table. After all the guests have their plates in front of them, they will notice you and direct their attention to you. Now's your time to speak. Point with your whole hand while explaining a specific dish. Repeat for mains and dessert. And when you're done, say enjoy or bon appetit or whatever it is in your native tongue. When everyone's finished eating, you may clear the table. Don't start clearing it while one person is still eating. This is very rude. You might be stressed about the next booking, waiting by the door, but I've got you on this, don't worry. If you have another area with sofas, you can suggest that the guests have a change of scenery and tell them that you have prepared a complimentary drink for them in the next area. Comp one small drink with their dessert if you're really stressed out and don't have time, and you can just do like half a portion. You can also tell the next table to hang out at the bar while you prepare their table, and also comp a small cocktail for them without apologizing, and let the first table remain seated until they're done. For example, "Please follow me," pull out bar chairs, or point to the sofa. Make eye contact with the host, blink and whisper, "This one's on the house." Excuse yourself by saying that you will go and prepare their table. If those guests are sitting in a sofa area and they don't have a bartender to talk to, just bring them a small generic cocktail. For example, a Cosmopolitan for ladies and a Negroni for gentlemen. Make sure to talk to the bartender before the shift so that he's in on it if you're taking his stock. Comping drinks is needed because you can make the guest feel like VIP simply by using suggestive talk. The bill, check, or l'addition s'il vous plaît, wait for the guest to ask for the bill. Sometimes they will signal with this gesture from afar. Nod and blink. He who asks for the bill shall have it. If the person who asked for the bill is in the restroom, then wait until he or she is back to the table. Never hand out the bill with just the paper. Always bring a small plate or a book that is used specifically for this purpose. This is so the guest can put cash or card in there. Don't stand around and wait for the money. Once you see that the book is closed on the table, usually they push the book away from them. Always bring back the change if it's cash. If it's a card payment, bring the machine to the guest and let the host follow the steps in the machine. You may turn around when it's time to punch the code in, so as not to stare at their PIN code. Until the guest stands up, don't bring them their coats or clear the table completely from the last glasses. Once they stand up, bring the coats, pull out the chairs and escort them to the exit and say thank you and have a great evening. This sums it up for this episode, and we hope that you found this video helpful, and please leave a like, subscribe, and comment down below. Thank you. See you next time.